And it's going to say final. That's it. And on the game over page, there, grab that text final, bring it over here, have it show up on top. And I don't really know where it's going to be until I play it, because it's invisible until we play it. Let me check one more thing about this. Make sure that it is black text, and it is. All right, let's give it a try. And there it is, nice and big. Happy with that. So those are all the major components that we need. But now let's kind of spruce it up and make it look more interesting. Okay, so now we're going to duplicate the monsters and make a variety of different monsters. One thing I want to look at in my monster backstage before I go forward is there's a sound that happens when he gets hit, but I actually want to have a sound that happens when he appears. So I'm going to go ahead and add yet another sound. It's going to be a play sound. And I'll choose the slurp. Let's bring that above there. Right up at the top. Okay, let's just make sure that works. Save it. Hit play. Cool. Awesome. So I'm going to go introduce you to this other tab here called Layers. And Layers is where you can see all of the actors that you have duplicated on your stage. So right now we haven't done anything to it, and there's just one layer by default called Background. I'm going to go ahead and rename this Monsters. And then I'm going to create another layer called Background. I'm going to put the moon background in there. It just kind of keeps things organized for certain. Also going to create another layer, and that layer is going to be called, whoops, where is it? It's going to be called the HUD, which is the items that are on the stage always. Now in this game that's not so important. In other games it is going to be, especially with like slider games, side scroller games is what I meant to say. Now the HUD we're gonna put on top. I'll get rid of that layer. I close that for a moment. Let's stick the HUD on top. And the HUD we're going to uncheck as scrollable. That's the only thing that would never be scrollable. Now in this game it's not important, but I'm going to mention that just so for your information, that any elements like you know, the score and things that you always want to be on the stage as you're moving left and right or up and down in your game, if you want them to always be there, then you just uncheck the scrollable. Okay, then we've got the background elements. Make sure that those are in there. And this is also a way where you can rearrange the placement of the items. Rearrange the placement of the actors on your stage. Okay, so I got going a little earlier by creating a monster that I renamed Monster Blue. I'm just going to go ahead and subtract that, and we'll start fresh. Also going to get rid of all but one orange monster just to kind of keep it clean. And if you ever want to find your monsters on your stage, you can just go to the layers and click on it, and there you go. I've got one orange monster. Then go back to the actors. I'm going to choose my monster, orange, and I'm going to duplicate it. The way you duplicate it in the GameSalad PC is by holding the Alt and move. Should have created one. There you go. Now I'm going to name this one Monster Blue. And I'm going to go ahead and bring a monster blue onto this stage. And this one, all I'm going to do is I want basically it to behave the same, except that I want it to be a different monster and maybe a different sound. So go in here to where it says orange 00. I'll click right there, and I'm going to choose another one of the monsters that I have in here. On the animate, of course I want this changed too. The graphics for the animation. And I'll just hold the shift key, click on the first, click on the last, and drag them in there. The third place where you're going to have to change it out is on the spawn at the very bottom. So at the very bottom here, I'm going to change it to go back to, and this is going to spawn to an actor, it's not a graphic, and my new monster blue. Now the other thing I want to change is I want to change the sound that it makes when it is hit. Mr. Stevens has provided several wax sounds, so I'm going to go ahead and choose the second one. And that should do it for that one. Okay, I'm going to create one more monster before we test play. Okay, so hold the Alt key and drag. Okay, we have another monster called Monster Green. Or green. Animations, swap out, delete these. Go to your media. I'm going to choose my green monster. Shift key, grab them both, drag them in, and then the last place is in the spawn at the bottom. There you go. Okay, now on my actor page, I know it's the green monster now, so when I update this, it should update it over in my backstage. Let's check it out. And sure enough, it did, right there. Fabulous. Okay, and let me go ahead and bring a green monster onto the stage. So over in the layers palette, I can make sure that everything is organized. All of the elements that deal with like the score and the timer and so forth, that's going to be in the HUD layer. All the monsters, you want to make sure they're in the monster layer, and the background is in the background layer, and that they're in this order. The HUD should be on top, scrollable is unchecked, and then let's see. Now I also want to point out that layers are unique to the scene that you're on. So when I go to the start scene, there's a whole other layer set up. When I go to the game scene, there is in fact a whole layer set up. You can reorganize the positioning of your graphics in this way most effectively using the layers. Back to the game scene layer, we've got, as you can see, 3 monsters. Okay, the final piece is going to be putting that front piece on. So let me go back to the actors. And I'll create one more actor. And this actor is going to be called Moon Front. Now these are the graphics that I created or my students created in my class. So if you use Mr. Stevenson's graphics, you won't have this feature. But go here and grab the moon front piece and drag it onto the stage. As you can see, this graphic acts as a front piece to hide the monsters entirely so that it looks like they're coming out of the holes. On the layers, I want to make sure that it can be in the monster layer and on front. It has to be in front of the monsters. And it looks like I've got it. So I'm going to save that and let's see how our final game looks.